Hi there everyone, just want you to know that there will be spoilers in this movie review. On Wednesday, October 23rd, marked 24 weeks before the release of the new James Bond film, No Time to Die. With that, I am doing the weekly movie marathon by watching each of the previous 24 Bond films before the release of No Time to Die. And of course, with it being the first week of the 24 weeks, I started out with Dr. No. When it comes to its rating from me, it is based off of its time period. With that, my rating for Dr. No is a 4 out of 5, and here's why. Dr. No is directed by Terrence Young, and it stars Sean Connery as the first James Bond. Dr. No is a wonderful movie. These older films nowadays are a time capsule into their time period in which they were made, and you see that with Dr. No. The direction of the movie is good, nothing too spectacular. How they utilize these action sequences for what they are, it's great. There are a lot of memorable scenes in this movie. Firstly, how we get introduced to James Bond playing Baccarat, and then we find out Bond is a womanizer type of guy, and then we get introduced to Universal Exports, the business alias to the 00 section of MI6. With that, we also get introduced to Miss Moneypenny, played by Lois Maxwell, and the head of the 00 section, named M, played by Bernard Lee. In Dr. No, James Bond gets assigned a task to investigate the missing persons of Strangways and his secretary, because he was investigating the toppling of American rockets in Jamaica. With that, James Bond would lead the investigation in Jamaica to find out what Strangways was investigating and who killed him. The acting is good in this movie, and the action sequences were good, but comparing it to today's action sequences, it's very high intensity, whereas with comparing it to the past with Dr. No, it seems very slow. But within the 1960s, those action sequences are as good as they are. There was a scene in Dr. No where James Bond was gonna get assassinated by a tarantula. With that, James Bond would flick the tarantula onto the floor, and we see him kill him with the shoe. And what was cool about that is that the score matched him slamming down his shoe on the tarantula. Now, with this first movie, we did get introduced to the James Bond theme. With this being the first movie, we would get introduced to what is the traditional James Bond tropes in the movie, with the gun barrel sequence. Although in this first one, it's not played by Sean Connery. And then we would get introduced to the title credit sequence, albeit it is the James Bond theme, and there wasn't a prologue before that title sequence. It just went into the title sequence after the gun barrel sequence. In this movie, we didn't see the villain Dr. No until the last third of the film. With that, he would reveal that he is a member of this organization called Spectre. Spectre is an acronym for Special Executive for Counterintelligence, Terrorism, Revenge, Extortion. Another Bond trope we get introduced to is the Bond girl. We meet Ursula Andress, who is playing the character Honey Rider, as she comes out of the Caribbean Sea, and we see James Bond looking at her singing Under the Mango Tree. We get introduced to this extravagant new world of espionage through James Bond and in Dr. No. And then we see Dr. No have this ravishly beautiful underground lair, or I should say underwater lair. With that, in the end, we find out he is the one that has been toppling rockets as they get shot from Cape Canaveral, Florida. James Bond would kill Dr. No by way of a fight over this kind of hot boiling water where the fuel cell was in. And with Dr. No not having hands but having prosthetic mechanical hands, he was unable to grip a pole as he slowly drowned into the water. The movie would end, of course, with him making out with the Bond girl, Honey Rider. These movies were based off of the novels written by Ian Fleming, who created the James Bond franchise of novels. Overall, Dr. No is a good movie and a good way to introduce the world of James Bond. So if you haven't seen Dr. No yet, definitely check it out. It is available on Blu-ray or digitally, wherever you buy your movies digitally through a streaming service. That is my review of Dr. No. The next movie you would watch in the next week for the weekly James Bond movie marathon is From Russia with Love. Make sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't. Like this video. Comment down below what you thought of Dr. No when you saw it. And thank you for watching, guys.